Hi everyone, welcome to Stitch and Bear Time. My name is Leslie and this is Little Bear. Little Bear, hey buddy, look into the camera. Oh, that's a big nose, okay. That's Little Bear, and we have picked out a brand new kit to start today. I promised a Christmas stocking and that's what we're going to do. Let me show you. Alright. It is the Patchwork Santa Christmas stocking. I'm so excited. This is one of my absolute favorites and I am so happy I actually get to do this. So let's get started. Let's talk about this kit. Patchwork Santa is such an adorable kit and it has such a classic look to it. This is one of those stockings that you're never going to get bored with. You're going to hang it up every year and just love looking at it. So the one that I have here was released in 2010, and from what I saw on like Mary's stocking, that's where I get a lot of my stockings from, they're out of stock, but I saw it in their catalog, so I have a feeling they are going to restock it, so just keep an eye out if you haven't bought this kit yet and you want one. I believe they will restock, and there are other areas where you could probably find this kit. There is another type of kit like this. It's not a stocking, it's actually like a 3D version of Patchwork Santa. Not very common to find it, so if you get your hands on it, you actually have a really good find. So this stocking is a rather large stocking, not in size, but in pieces. It has labeled 158 pieces, but in actuality, when you look at the instructions, some of these little pieces here, like the circles or the stars, they gave them the same number. So when you take that into account, there's actually more like 200 pieces in this kit rather than 158 labeled pieces. This might take you a while if you're kind of slow on sewing. So just keep that in mind if you're going to start this kit, is that it's going to take you a while if you're not very fast to begin with. I wouldn't quite call this a beginner kit. I would say it's more intermediate, maybe to advanced. There's just a lot going on in here that you have to keep track of. And then if you look at these little guys, this doll, the snowman, the gingerbread man here, in the instructions they're not actually attached, but I am going to attach them to the stocking just so I don't lose them. And then you'll notice that there isn't like a big section up here for the name. The name tag's actually over here, so you'd have to turn it over to see somebody's name. So that might also affect how you choose a stocking for somebody, if you want their name to be very well displayed or not, because on this stocking there's really no room for you to do that, so just keep that in mind. So let's start from the very beginning when I got my kit. That's what it looked like in the back, and of course the first step is you open up your kit, get all your supplies out. You should have instructions, you should have floss, you should have needles, beads, sequins, all of that good stuff. As you can see, I organized myself. And then of course, before we get stitching, we have to iron out our felt. And that's an example of me doing that there. And then I was allowed to finally, officially get started with cutting out piece number 1, which is basically that whole entire stocking piece. Little Bear and my husband were hanging out, cuddling with each other, so I had to take a quick picture. And oh my gosh, Little Bear is so fluffy here. He needs a groom, which he did get. Now he looks like a little rat dog because it's summertime and he had way too much hair. All right, so at piece number 1, I had to put on some snowflakes and put a little sequins and beads on there. And at this time, this is when Little Bear actually grabbed my stocking and started running around with it. That was totally my fault. I left it on the counter, went to the bathroom. He usually never touches my stuff. He touched my stuff that time. I will never make that mistake again. He stretched it a little bit on the corner, but I was able to kind of flatten it out. You can't even tell now, but I was so upset. Piece number 2 here. I put on these leaves, and all of these are considered piece number 2. This is what I'm talking about when I say that there's way more pieces in this than 158. There's technically 4 of these, well, there's a lot more than 4 leaves, but 2 was considered piece 2. So 2, 2, 2, and 2. And that's why there's like really more like 200 pieces in here rather than 158. After that, I already was like, this is tedious. So I went and quilted a table runner. That's what I did. It was actually my first applique project. I did laser cut fusible applique on the edges there, and that was super fun. I got that kit from Shabby Fabrics, and it was like a 4th of July kit. I really had a good time with it. After that, I did a little bit of free motion practice. Kind of got my quilting on for a little bit there. I took a break. And then I finally got back to our Bucilla kit here. All right, so I moved on, did little pieces of the hat, got some face stuff done. With the face, there was a lot of satin stitching, and then the eyebrows were an outline stitch. And if you're not good at satin stitching, it just takes some practice. That's totally normal. I hear it a lot on Facebook. And that's okay, you just have to practice. For me, I use 2 strands. I start from the top and go down, top, down. I always start at the thickest part of what I have to do a satin stitch on. The darker the color, the easier it is to kind of mask your mistakes, I feel like. The lighter colors, they show through a little bit more. But it just takes practice. You will get better, I promise. And then I had to put the little fluff around the face there. That required some more beading and sequins. And then it was time to get the 3D aspect of our hat put together. So as you can see, more outline stitching, more beading, and that's what a lot of this kit is. It's a lot of embroidery work and beading with some really basic shape pieces. It's a lot of like rectangles and squares and triangles that you're just putting next to each other to make it look a little patchy. And there are some French knots that I had to do there. Got the hat put together, stuffed it. There's a little pom-pom. And I did go a little bit off of what the instructions told me to do, and I'll show you why. I just want to mention one thing about the hat. That when you are making this piece, in the instructions it states to create this part of the hat first, and then without the pom-pom to attach the top of it, like so. And then after that, you're supposed to put on the pom-pom last. I think that would be really hard to applique it on, try and get it attached while it's attached to the stocking. So I would actually recommend make the entire hat, add the pom-pom to it, and then attach it. That way you don't have to deal with fiddling around with trying to get that pom-pom on at the end. So that's what he looked like after I got the hat put together. And there's Little Bear. He was my sewing buddy, just hanging out on his chair. I put his chair next to my chair so he can be close to me. And then I started on the coat, more of the shoulder area. And once again, I deviated a little bit from what the instructions told me to do. For this green piece here, the instructions say to applique the green piece first and stuff it, and then put the little blue pieces on afterwards. It is a lot easier to get the blue pieces on to the green felt and then applique the whole thing, just because then you're trying to not go through some stuffing that's behind there. It's just easier to handle that way. So I put the blue circles on first, and then I'm going to applique the green piece onto this section here. I did the same thing here with this red piece. I put the stars on first, and then I appliqued the red piece onto the darker red while I was stuffing it. Took a break again, did some quilting, did some more free motion quilting, and then Little Bear was like, hey, are you done sewing yet? I gotta go outside. We learned that he's actually afraid of smoke detector, fire alarm noises. This dog can sleep through fireworks. There isn't a lot that scares him. He used to be scared of people in masks, but you know, everybody wears a mask these days, so he kind of got over that. But yeah, he was super scared of the smoke alarm that went off in the middle of the night, just because it was low on battery. And there's my husband cuddling him. He was just a very sad pooch for a while there. There are a couple pieces that look like this. It's a lot of outline stitching and then a straight stitch to get those little X's on. And that's the back of that piece. Those pieces took me a long time to do. It was just a lot of stitching. So you can see how much thread is in this one felt piece. And then I got it on, had to stuff it, and it was pretty much doing that all the way down the left side of this coat. As you can see, I went one piece after another. put some beads on, did some more embroidery, more straight stitching. So a lot of the stitches I did were outline, French knots, satin stitch, and then also straight stitch. That's mainly what I did. So as you can see, there's another one of those pieces that took me forever to do because there's all that outline stitching with those little X's I had to put in between. And then I love the little star pieces. Those are just my favorite. So I finally got to the pocket. I love the little pocket. I don't know why, I just think it's the most cutest thing ever. And as you can see, I got it on there. Don't sew the top, otherwise you no longer have a pocket. And that's where the little gingerbread man is gonna go into. And there's my final picture of where I'm at so far. I would say I'm about a quarter of the way through this stocking. I've got the left side of my coat done here. The next video, I will show you the right side getting done. I think I do also the little drum here and the feet as well. As you can see, if I turn my stocking over, that here, let me pull this up. There is no backing to these little green pieces here. You can kind of see some of my stitches. So if you're a big perfectionist, you're gonna wanna cut out a backing for these green pieces here if you don't want someone to see that, because the lining isn't gonna go up that far if you like to do lining. So just a heads up there. But that's the back. And here's my little pocket. The pocket's my favorite thing so far, if you can't tell. And I love the hat, how it's just sticking out, that little 3D effect. I think that's so fun, so cute. But this is where we're at. And that's all for today. Keep watching my next video. I'm gonna try and have it out in about 3 weeks. So thank you for watching Stitch and Bear Time. I'll see you guys all then. Bye.